record. Thank you. And he just brings so much value to people's lives. And I'm really excited to have him here because he is all about like protecting your peace and just has such a great way of helping other people and mentoring them and just kind of sharing his life to help others. So he's going to do a Q&A for us tonight. So if you have, like, when you have questions for him, put them in the chat so that I can read them. And we can just like keep going and not be sitting in silence, because I really want to make sure that we value his time and we're able to ask what we need to, right? Okay, let me make sure, hold on, let me try to spotlight him. Hold on. Where is he? Hold on. There he is. All right, I'm gonna spotlight you. Got it. How are you, Trent?
I'm doing good. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you well.
Awesome. Sorry for being a little late. So thank you guys for waiting a bit. And I'm just honored to be on this call. So yeah, I'm just privileged to be here. So I want to salute all of you guys for taking time out your night to maybe think I have something to say that's worth listening to. So I appreciate y'all.
Thank you so much for being here with us. Okay, so I'm going to start reading these questions as we go through. First one I have is, what was a major turning point in your life?
Which one? There were a lot of major turning points in my life, but I don't know if y'all familiar with my story, but the main one is when I lost football. That was my everything. And I always tell people, like, you know, whatever your everything you think it is or may be, like, losing that. So that was a major blow in my life, because I felt like that was the pinnacle. Like it was no greater thing for me in life than making it to the NFL. So once I made it there, I thought that, you know, my life is over. Like, what else do I have to live for? And losing that, which was really a gain. I always say this, man, sometimes it takes losing certain things to gain better things in your life. So everything isn't a loss. But at that time in my life, you know, I was giving myself a death sentence. And what I mean by that, I was saying words like, my life is done, I'm finished, my future is gonna suck. All these limiting beliefs that really become contagious throughout your life in a negative way. And looking back now, it was the greatest thing that ever happened to me. It was my greatest gift. So what I thought was the worst thing in my life was my greatest gift, because it brought me to what I do today. And if you guys aren't familiar, like, what I do today is not something I wanted to do. I always say the gift found me, the calling found me. I'm an introvert by nature. So I know a lot of people see me online. They see, you know, when I'm super passionate, which is a lot when I'm talking about rehab time and helping lives. But the reason behind that too is, you know, one of my best friends committed suicide. So it was my promise to him. So it's my promise to him at his service that I would live the rest of my life helping people, like, know their worth. And I know I'm going all over the place, but I just want to challenge everybody on this call. Like, make sure your why. Y'all hear this a lot. I know my why. If your why makes you cry, right? But make sure you have a deep rooted reason on why you do what you do. Because if you really have that, you will always find a way. Just as humans, we are brilliant enough to find a way. And so when people weren't showing up to my events, when nobody's watching my videos, when nobody's following me online, when people call me stupid, when people call me crazy, when people say my past was too bad, when everything externally said that I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing, it was that deep rooted reason in that commitment that I made, right? A commitment is you sign up for forever, right? No matter what your mood is, you stay committed to it. And that literally, like, changed my life forever. So it took me losing that to be able to gain, I feel like, one of the purposes in my life.
Thanks. And I know you talk a lot about, like, protecting your peace. Like, that's a big part. Oh, I love it so much. So there's some questions in here about protecting peace. And they kind of link together. Like, when people need something from you all the time, like, how do you protect your peace? And then, like, building on that, how do you make sure that you stay in alignment with your goals in that way?
Yeah. So yeah, I love protecting your peace. Like, it's my mantra. I told somebody the other day, I was like, man, if I had one thing to, like, leave on this earth, it would be that, because it's so many different facets of that. So in the point of, you know, always being the one people come to, right? I've been that person since I was about 20 years old, just from the position that I was given and blessed with. And, you know, when you have a good heart, it's hard to say no. But one of the things that's helped me, and I want to challenge everybody on here, for one, saying yes to yourself is not being selfish. And only people who want to use you will make you feel like that. So I want you to understand that it's okay to say no to people. And a lot of times when you say no, you will see how that person, those people really feel about you, because there's people that I've done a million things for. I didn't say yes, I didn't did everything, but that one no, it's like they had amnesia to all the yeses that I did for them. And it made me realize, okay, this person might not really be for me. This person might be loyal to what's surrounding my life, not what's truly in my heart. And so one of the ways, and this is like super tactical and it's easy, but one of the ways that has helped me protect my peace, because my good heart will always put me in situations that will sometimes break my heart, is that I stay loyal to my principles. And I really want y'all to get this tonight. Like, whatever those principles are, I can't name that for you, but I have certain principles that I live by. And if it goes against my principles, so one of my principles is my mental health. Like, I'm not gonna lose myself for anything in this world, because I know if I lose myself, then the people who need me to be the best me, they're not gonna get that person. And so if it's taken away from my mental health, if it's adding more stress to my life, if it's adding more anxiety to my soul, more worry, if it's taking away the peace in my heart, then my principles tell me that that's a no. And so I tell people all the time, I'm not saying no to you. My principles are, because I'm loyal to my principles before I'm loyal to people. And I know that might seem very, very like insensitive, but it's helped my life so much to say, you know what? I can't be loyal to you in that aspect. Like, as far as, don't take this out of context, but I can't be loyal to your needs all the time, because if your needs are taken away from what I need in my life, then I know I'm going to be empty. If I'm always giving, and I've been there before, I know a lot of you probably have been here before too. If I'm giving all the time, then eventually I will be empty and I will have no more to give. And so I always say, okay, what are my principles saying? My principles say X, Y, Z. Okay, I got to make this decision. Even if I want to do it, I still got to say no, because I know my principles are in line to keep me being the best me. And I want to say this quote real quick, because it's been on my heart, and I've been saying this a lot, that some of us on here, and when I say us, I'm including myself in this too, is that we would rather keep the peace externally, meaning that we're so afraid to have conversations. We're so afraid to tell people no because of what they'll say, or all this stuff, or how they might feel. We're so afraid to keep, well, we're so programmed to keep the peace externally that we start a war within ourselves. And so I just want you to think about that for a moment, because some of us, we have this internal war because we won't vocalize and have those hard conversations with people. So we'll rather keep peace in the world than a war within ourselves. And I just ask you, and I challenge you to flip that. Like, if you got to have a hard conversation, have it. It's better than you sitting with it in your heart. It's better than you suppressing it, because suppression turns into depression. It's better than you driving yourself crazy. Like, make that decision, because, you know, it might not go the way you want it to go, but at least you'll have that peace in your soul because you freed that from your heart. So I want to just share that with y'all.
Ooh, that's deep. That's good. I felt that. I'm sure a lot of people on here did too, because I know I did. Okay, so but this is good to kind of build on that. So, like, how do you navigate people who are like half in, half out and supporting you? And then someone said, like, what about if those people are also going against your principles? Like, how do you deal with that? Because sometimes you have like family, right? Like, they're going to be around. Can't be like, bye. I mean, you could, but like, how do you navigate that? What's some advice around that?
Yeah, oh man, I could talk about this for an hour. I'm sure I have a podcast somewhere about this, but the key word that I'm going to tell y'all is understanding. And why that's so important is, you're right? Sometimes, and you don't even need to get rid of people because they don't support you. Like, I want to be clear about that. Like, for one, some people might support you in a way that you're not used to. So always look at that. Like, I know some people show support in different ways, just not the way that we want them to show support. But you have to understand who those people are. Like, you have to ask yourself, okay, is this, my perfect quote for this is that you can't expect small mindsets to comprehend big visions. Like, everybody's not going to see your vision. And a lot of times it's the people closest to you. And you're too close. Oh man, you're too close to them for them to see your greatness. And what I mean by that is that they're familiar with you. So a lot of us, what we do is when we have this big idea, and we should, because the people close to, we have this big idea, we bring it to our friends, we bring it to our family, and they don't get it, right? They look at you like, oh, okay, another one of these. Trust me, I got that when I started rehab time. But then I realized it's not their fault, right? They're not visionaries. right? They're not dreamers. If you look at their life, just look at it. If they're not a person that's willing to go all in on themselves, then how can you expect them to go all in and believing in you? If it's not a person that's really fighting for their dreams, they're not going to get it, right? They're just not. It's going to be foreign to them. You're speaking a foreign language, and it doesn't make them a bad person. So I challenge everybody on here, which y'all have a good group, is like, bring your visions to visionaries. It might be your family, hopefully. It might not be. But bring your vision to somebody who's actually like committed and understanding where you're trying to go, and understanding that, man, I got a dream too. And unfortunately, sometimes it's the people that aren't closest to you. Sometimes your biggest supporters will be unfamiliar faces. I always say God will place strangers in your life to take you to higher places. If you look at any company, you look at your business, I'm sure, I can guarantee you that 98%, probably 99% of your customers or your business or whatever, your supporters online are strangers. Facts. Because all they see is what you're giving to the world, right? When people are familiar with you, for one, they desensitize your greatness. They humanize you. You're just little whoever to them. Oh, I went to high school with that person. And they're just doing that little thing, right? They always put the little thing on what you're trying to, when you're really doing it big. So just understand that where it's coming from. It's not coming from a bitter place. They just can't comprehend what you're trying to do. So for me, I have different levels in my life, right? Because I feel like we do this too. I feel like we put unfair expectations on people. We expect them to be a person that they don't want to be. And it's not their fault, right? But once somebody is showing us that, okay, they're not a person that wants to support us, okay, cool, that's all right. But now I know where to put you. And I have 3 levels. I have associates, which I don't expect much from, right? People that just know me, I know them. You know, at the end of the day, they wouldn't be my emergency calls if something was to happen to me. And I don't put expectation. I don't expect them to reach out to me and ask me, how am I doing? I expect them to reach out to me to want something, right? Maybe we have a business relationship, right? It's just that. The second thing is friends for me. Friends are people that I expect a little bit more from, but they aren't those 2 a.m.s, as I call them. They ain't the person I'm gonna call at 2 a.m. And I know they'll pick up with asking questions. And then the last is family. And for me, family is not always blood. It's those people that I know no matter what, they there. If I got an event, they there. If you got 5 people in your life like that, you got a squad. You can't expect to have 20 people. And what happens is we put different people in different places and we get upset because we're giving them an expectation that they're not capable to live up to. So hope that helped a bit.
Yes. Yes, yes. All right, I'm scrolling through. Let's see. All right, so new seasons of life. So like adjusting to like Katie, she's a 3-month-old Knox and just started back her full-time job. So she's like super tired, being an awesome mom. Just some tips on how to adjust there.
Yeah, so Katie, I'm proud of you. Salute to you. And nobody knows your battle. You know what I mean? We all go through different things. And I would just first tell yourself, like, I've been telling people to do these 3 things. And this might seem very simple, but it's powerful. You know, tell yourself that you're proud of yourself, you love yourself, and thank you every single day. Tell yourself that. Look in the mirror. We're so good at telling our kids, we're so good at telling our friends, but we don't tell ourselves that. So make sure you tell yourself that. And 2, don't be afraid to go at your own pace. You know, we have a comparison disease in this world. We look out and we see everybody running 1,000 miles per hour. We see everybody's highlight reels. Like, that person might not have kids. That person might not be adjusting into their new season. They might be on their chapter 38 when you're in your chapter 1. And we feel like we gotta be like that person. So I would just tell you to give yourself grace. I would tell you to focus on what you can control and just fall in love with progression. Fall in love with progression. You know, find times in your life where you can close the gaps, right? See where you're wasting time at, if you are. See where you can be more intentional with your life and just plan that out, right? I call it the productivity code, where I just sit down and I map out my day, and I map out my days. I have themed days, right? Friday is fun Friday, right? I'm having fun on Friday. I don't care what's on the schedule unless I'm speaking, and that's fun anyway. I'm having fun. And I think, and this is to everybody on here, now I talked about this on my podcast 2 weeks ago, is that some of us, and don't take this out of context, because I believe in hard work. I believe in grinding. I believe we have sacrifice seasons. And some of you might be in that season where you got to sacrifice, right? You got to put more hours than what you would like. But don't forget to have fun. Like, don't forget to enjoy the journey, because the minute that this or work or your dream or whatever becomes a job for you, then you become miserable. So find a way to enjoy it. Start saying yes to things that don't have nothing to do with what you're trying to build, right? Some of us, we have become a hermit and we say no to everything. And I know COVID has changed a lot for us, right? Of course, be safe. But I just challenge everybody on here to enjoy your life a little bit more, because when I talk to 80-year-olds, 90-year-olds, I have these conversations. The thing that they always tell me is that I wish I would have had more fun in my life. I wish I would enjoy my life. I wish I wouldn't have worked so hard that I didn't get to enjoy it. And so that would be my ask to everybody on this call, man, is like, have a day where you relax, you protect your peace, you go have fun, you go do whatever it is, as long as it's productive in a positive way, just to bring that excitement to your life. Because sometimes we become boring, we become basic, and we become busy. And that's a perfect recipe to becoming stagnant and not really enjoying life. So I would just tell everybody that.
All right. Yeah. Yes. All of this. I'm glad I'm recording this. This is straight fucking gold right now.
Hey, but that doesn't mean be lazy though, because I know somebody can be like, hey, Trent told me to just whatever, I'm gonna just kick it. Nah, you got to go through your seasons, but make sure you're progressing. I just want you to enjoy your journey, because I can speak for myself. There's times when I've been super successful to the world, but I wasn't enjoying it. And I cannot tell you how many conversations I've had with people, if I said their names, you would know them, where they're not fulfilled because they didn't enjoy the journey. And so just find a way to enjoy your journey.
All right. So I saw a few things about this certain topic, so I'm just going to ask. So, okay. How, in regard to relationships, whether it's friendship, whether it's spouse, how do you know, like, when it is the appropriate time to either keep investing in that or to burn the bridge? It's like, is there, because I feel like whether it's like, even like people are talking about like figuring out what they want to do for life, like college, that could be a bridge you could burn if you go through it and you feel like maybe you're not where you need to be, or whether it's like with friendship or with relationship. Like, obviously there's no like right answer, but what are some tips or things you've learned that have helped you kind of navigate that?
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it super simple. I'm a big believer in asking myself questions. I believe the quality of your life is determined by the quality of the questions that you ask yourself. And I think the more you know what the right questions to ask yourself, you'll find the answers that you need. And so when it comes to friends or relationships, whatever it may be, business partners, I ask myself this simple question. Everything in life, I feel like, is a bridge. It's leading you somewhere, right? It's either leading you to a greater version of yourself, a greater business, a greater whatever, or it's leading you to a lesser. And I ask myself that question, where is this leading me to? And even more specific, because I believe we all make mistakes. I believe in second, third, fourth chances, but I don't believe in staying naive to the reality that's slapping me in my face. So I ask myself even more specifically is, where has this bridge been consistently and constantly leading me to? And if my answer that this bridge has been leading me to pain, it's been leading to me confusion, it's been leading me to not loving myself, it's been leading to more anxiety in my life, then I got to burn the bridge. I have to, because I know where it's going to consistently lead me to. Now, if I ask that question, I can say, man, you know what? We had some rocky times. You know what? We had some bumps and bruises, but that person or those people, we're really working to progress. Like I always say this, never quit on progression. If somebody's fighting to become a better human being or to become better, or they made a mistake and they're actually changing it, then that's a bridge that I'm not going to burn, because I see that person really wanting it. But I think the problem sometimes happens is that we want somebody or people to be something that they're not willing to become. And I always say, don't fall in love with potential. And that kind of rubs people the wrong way at times. I'm not saying people don't have potential. Everybody has potential. But the truth is, everybody's not willing to meet their potential. There's a lot of people living with potential, but they're not living in it, right? And what happens is we always see the good right? We see the good in it because you got a good heart, because you want this to work, whatever it is. But sometimes you got to stop seeing the good and you got to start seeing the truth. And when I see the truth and I know that there's no fight to change, no fight to progress, no fight to make it better, then I know the ball's in my court and I got to make a decision, because I can't blame the situation if I'm choosing to keep on accepting that situation. And I hate to say this, but I got to tell you, you deserve exactly what you accept, period.
Mic drop. Just mic drop. So I'm just gonna marinate on that for like a few seconds. Like marinate on that for a minute. Cause that applies to like so much of what you guys are asking. Like I'm like over here like, holy crap, trying to like catch my breath.
Can I add this to that right quick?
Yeah.
Just very briefly, because I do feel like we live in a society where we give up easily, right? Because I think that we have so much perfection, like we live in a perfection culture, right? Everything looks perfect online. And even with my messages, some people take it as like, oh, I need to leave. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is like, I believe in fighting for it. I believe in working for it. So just because it's hard doesn't mean that it's not right for your life, because nothing is perfect. No relationship's perfect. No partnership is perfect. No friendship is perfect. But you just got to understand like what's been the consistent thing over time that will maybe help you make a right decision.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Like, are they, like when you said, are they making progress? Like, is that person actually working with you? Is a really good indicator. Because I think a lot of times, like when you have a big heart, you just go and go and go and you put the energy in, but are they matching your energy?
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, let me scroll back up. Hold on. Everybody's loving it. I'm having to scroll like way up to find questions. Okay.
Seeing everybody in here. What's up, all y'all? How y'all doing?
Okay, let's see. I think you've answered value beliefs kind of thing. You talk a lot about that already. Best and worst piece of advice you've ever received.
Dang.
It's a tough one to answer on the spot.
Okay, yeah, I got one. I don't know if it's the worst advice, but it pops in my mind because it's definitely in this culture right now, especially in personal development. So somebody asked me the other day, is like, what advice do you hate that people say in personal development? So, well, one, the best advice, man, the best advice that I ever received that really helped me was from my mother or my grandmother. Maybe my mother told me and my grandmother told her, but she said that you are called to reach people that nobody else can reach. And what she meant by that, and it gave me so much confidence in my message, because my thing was like, who wants to listen to me? Like, I'm not special. But she told me that every single human being is called to reach certain people. She's like, I can reach people you can't, you can reach people I can't, and vice versa. You can reach people Oprah can't, and vice versa. And so that gave me so much confidence to share my story, knowing that there's people out there like waiting to read my story that can help their life. So that was a really good piece of advice. And then I think the worst piece of advice that I see a lot is this whole like, you know, I don't know if it was Steve Harvey that said it, and I get what he was saying, but like the whole no sleep and grind 24/7, 365. I get all that, but get some sleep, please. You need a lot of sleep, because without sleep, we get sick. It gives our chance our bodies to heal. You'll be more efficient in your life. So the whole team no sleep, don't get sleep, grind, all this stuff. You can sleep when you die. No, that's not. Nobody really knows what happens when you die. So unless, we all have our different beliefs. But I just think that's bad information, because I see people literally driving themselves into sickness because they're not getting their proper rest. So I want to tell all y'all, it's cool to get sleep. So get it.
Yes. Go sleep after this call, please.
Yes. Get your 8 hours, 9 if you can. Try it.
Okay. So a question is like, I guess like how you keep focused. What do you do to help you keep your eyes on the prize, like staying focused in what you're doing?
Yeah. So that's a great question. Tactically, I go to trigger environments. And what that means for me, well, for one, meditation. Like, I don't know, some of y'all join me in my morning meditations, but I'm big on that. That's a form of me telling me protecting my peace. So really being intentional with my morning, and really feeling the day, has helped me stay focused on the things I need to stay focused at. But another thing, when I'm losing track, so some of you know, I went through like the hardest season in my life this year by far. A lot of setbacks, a lot of gain angels, as I like to say, instead of losses in my life. And I was depressed. Like, I'll just be straight up with y'all. Like, I was super depressed. I didn't even want to create any content. I didn't want to do anything. I gained weight. I stopped doing all the things that I know I should have been doing. But I went through that season. I want to tell y'all that on here. Like, I know this wasn't the question, but it's okay to go through seasons like that. It's okay to not be okay. It's not okay to stay that way. But I feel like so many times we feel like it's going to hurt our brand if we're real with people, or, you know, we're going to lose if we take a step back. And the truth of the matter is, like, it's okay to take a step back. It's okay when you're going through a storm. And I had to realize that, because, you know, I have the world pulling on me and saying, hey, like, where you at? But I was literally dying inside, like literally dying inside. One thing that got me back on track was I went back to my trigger environment, which I was saying at the beginning. And that trigger environment, ironically, it was my mom's house. You know, I lost my mom this year, which is very, very hard. Gained my mom as an angel this year. And going back to her house, my parents' house, and going back to my room where rehab time started, it brought back emotions. It brought back, I looked around the room. I went to the room where I first started recording my videos, and it brought back the reason. Another place for me is the cemetery. I know that might seem creepy, but I go to the cemetery often because I know I'm going to be there at some point. And my biggest fear is not dying. My biggest fear is truly not living. My biggest fear is like taking stuff with me when I leave this earth and not leaving everything here. So those trigger environments get me back focused. Sometimes it's a conversation I've triggered people, right? That trigger that passion back in my soul that I know if I call them, they're going to tell me the truth that I need to hear. So I would challenge everybody on this call to have that trigger environment that reconnects you, re-engage you to the reason why you started. Because I don't know if y'all are familiar with hedonic adaptation. I've been talking about this a lot. I spoke at an event the other week and I asked, nobody raised their hand. So I'm not gonna go down this whole rabbit hole, but hedonic adaptation is simply this. How many of y'all want to ask a question that you have become, I don't use the word numb, but you're not excited for something that you used to be super excited about? Right? Anybody ever felt that before? Raise your hand. I'm looking at everybody here. Marissa, Jessica, I see Heather, right? Maybe it was like a new, like, anybody ever got a new purse? And you're like, man, this purse is dope. Like, I'm gonna wear this purse every single day. Now you ain't care. You just throw the purse on the ground. You ain't care about it no more, right? Or a new car, a new house, a relationship, a marriage, or whatever it may be. There's nothing wrong with you, by the way. As humans, we're taught to, like, we're programmed to adapt to situations. So everything, if we're not active with our gratitude, everything will become normal. If you got $1 million today, you might think, oh my gosh, there will come a point when you get used to that $1 million, period. And so for me, I understood that and I understand that. So I'm always practicing, I call active gratitude. And a part of my active gratitude is going to trigger environments where I first started to bring that mood that I had, to bring that focus and that reason why I did what I did and started what I started. So if you ever feel like you're numb, you ever feel disconnected, you ever feel like you got to re-engage, I just challenge you to go back to the environment where you made that decision, or go back to the reason on why you made your decision. So yeah, I hope that helps a bit.
Thank you for that. Someone did ask too, like, how you've navigated losing your mom, or your mom becoming an angel. I love how you reframe that, by the way. I think that's awesome. So I'm glad you kind of hit on that too with that. And then someone wants to know what Enneagram you are. Do you know?
I think I'm a 3. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. And when you're extremely busy with life, how do you stay consistent with your goals? And or how to be graceful too at the same time? Give me something.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm very big on fulfillment, and I'm not trying to like avoid the question, but I think it all relates. Like for me, and everybody's different, guys. So don't take this as the truth for your life, but just from my perspective, like I gauge my life by fulfillment. And I have priorities in my life, right? And I think what happens a lot of times is that I'll put it like this: fulfillment works off of two things, right? The priorities you have in your life and the time you spent with your life. And a lot of times we feel a disconnect, we feel empty, we don't feel fulfilled because we're spending time on things that are lower priorities in our life. And we're spending all our time there. So for me, one of my priorities is my family. So if I'm always traveling, if I'm always serving other people and I'm not serving them, no matter how much likes, how many people say, oh, you changed my life and all that stuff, I'm not going to feel fulfilled because I'm ignoring the highest priorities in my life. And so for me, I ask myself this question a lot, and maybe you should ask yourself this: is like, what truly matters, right? Don't think about what's influenced you to answer that, because sometimes it's people, it's whatever, but like, what truly matters in your life? If you got to the end of life and you asked about my mom, and hopefully this answered the question, if not, I'll answer it again. But somebody asked about my mother, and it's crazy that I know I'm healing because I can talk about it. Maybe 3 weeks ago, I couldn't even say it without breaking down. But seeing my mom at her final stages, I couldn't help but wonder, like, did she live? And I believe she did, a life that she felt really, really mattered. And I know she did just by her service and the celebration, but it really started making me ask questions in my life. And some of y'all know what happened to my daughter. It made me ask, like, Trent, what truly matters to you? Is it the success in the world? Or is it this or that? And I had to get very clear on that, because that is fulfillment, guys. Like, I've been all across the world. I've been to, probably 15 different countries. I've been to third world countries. And it's not the people that have the most that are the most fulfilled. It's the people that have the most inside of here that are most fulfilled. And so tonight, if you don't have a good grasp on that, I just challenge you to do some soul searching and really get clear on that, because when you live life in priority, your life will never be out of balance when you're living in priority. When you live life in priority, then it frees you to be able to operate at just a more freer and confident level. And I feel like that's like the greatest thing that I've learned this year that has helped my life the most. And I've just been more free to create. So I know I took that question and ran with it, but hopefully that answered.
It did. It did. Thank you. All right. Carrie wants to know where you got your hat.
I got my hat from Urban Outfitter. I did. I don't know if they still have it, but you can check online. Yep.
And what are you currently reading or listening to grow?
For sure. I'm currently listening to Dr. Amen. Your brain is always listening. So Dr. Amen is a good friend of mine. It's actually my brain doctor. It's crazy to say that. But I'm reading his book, and it's about understanding the dragons in your life, right? The things that are breathing fire in your brain, whether it's, all the bad stuff. And so I'm reading that book, listening to a ton of podcasts. I actually started 75 Hard today with a whole bunch of people. So I'm doing that. I'm not sure if y'all know what that is, but yeah. So I see Heather knows what it is. So, I'm going to finish it, but yeah. So I'm reading that book for this challenge.
Sweet. Is that the guy that was on your podcast? Is that the same brain guy?
Yeah, Dr. Amen. So research Dr. Amen. He's really cool. So what he does is, I don't know if y'all familiar, but I'll be really quick. He does scans of your brain. So like MRIs only get they don't really get in your actual brain. His scans can actually pinpoint where, if follow him on social, just things Dr. Amen, but it actually can pinpoint just the activity in your brain. Like, so what's going on? It was crazy because he literally could tell me why I was a certain way with certain things. And it blew my mind. So it was life changing for me.
Cool. All right. Carmen said, what advice would you give to a young college student realizing that what they're studying is not their true purpose? I'm studying marketing, but thinking of taking a life coaching certification to follow my heart and what I truly want to do.
Yeah. So you said, what was the first part? The college student that's doing something that's probably not their purpose.
Yeah, she's realizing that what she's studying is not her true purpose.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna tell you just to quit and stop it because you have to live with those decisions. But I just ask that you meditate on that and you open your heart to maybe what it is that you want. And the thing about purpose is, I'll just tell you this, and I have a different approach to purpose that might be different than a lot of people's. Is I don't believe purpose is something that you find. It's who you are. I don't believe purpose is some external thing. It's an internal gift. And so I can go back on my journey and the dots never connect moving forward, but I can go back on my journey and realize like, dang. So I took speech communications. Okay. I kid you not. I took that because I didn't want to fail out at Baylor. Like I wanted to make it to the NFL. I didn't care about speaking at all. But now I'm a public speaker, right? So you just never know why you might need something. But if you feel like you really, really hate it, you don't want to do it, then I would say to start transitioning, right? Start writing down goals. How can you transition into doing what you really want to do and set some firm goals and meet those deadlines? But you just never know in your journey of life how you can use those things for something later on that, you know, might need that. So I would just tell you to, yeah, do that. I probably confused you a lot more.
Sweet. All right, I think that's all the questions in the chat.
For sure.
Anybody else have anything they would like to ask? Speak now.
I put my question in the chat very later on. I put, how do you feel connected to God through your business and your purpose?
Absolutely. That's a great question. Who said that? I just saw you speaking about.
It's me. I'm driving. It's Brittany.
Okay. What's up, Brittany? That's a great question. So again, it's back to priority. I just make sure I prioritize that. And listen, I'm in an industry where, you know, you gotta, whatever you stand for and your principles and who you are, I'm gonna always be the advocate to tell you, don't silence that for anything, right? I'm not saying you have to be over the top or you have to be whatever it is that you believe in, but never silence your voice, never silence your beliefs. I'm in an industry where I first started, people would tell me not to talk about God, not to talk about this, not to talk about that, to dress like this, to don't wear that. And it didn't feel real to me. So I say, you know what? I'm going to start my own platform. I'm going to continue to be who I am because that's where my peace is. And I live that. And so it might look different than maybe a pastor. It might look different with somebody else, but I'm just always sharing my truth, and that's my truth. So I would definitely tell y'all, like, whatever it is for you, that's your truth, stay connected to it, and allow that truth to be lived through you. And I just feel like for me, and I'm not trying to make it about faith right now, but I feel like for me, so many people has had their faith strengthened just through me being authentically me just speaking about things that authentically come. I'm not trying to be this or trying to be that. I'm just really being who I am. And I've had so many people hit me up and say, man, Trent, that message helped me with my faith. And I didn't even plan it to do that. So just continue to be who you are and grow from that.
Awesome. Thanks, Britt. I missed that one. So thank you for asking that because I totally missed it. Did I miss anybody else's questions? Feel free to tell me. I will not be upset. Okay. Everyone's just saying that you're amazing. What's your favorite podcast you have recorded?
My favorite one?
Yeah.
Dang.
Maybe this year.
Yeah.
This year.
So I'm so biased because I'm gonna say the last one. My favorite one of mine, right?
Yes, of yours.
Okay. Man, probably one of the ones that I dedicated to my mother for sure, just because of the situation. Outside of that, I really enjoyed talking about like having fun, like 2 podcasts ago. Like I just really enjoyed it, and the feedback was so great and people really needed that. And I just feel like it's not talked about enough in this world, you know, this world of grind. So that's probably one of my favorite ones. And my favorite all time, just to say, is my Know Your Worth podcast. Is like one of the, I think, episode like 9 or 10, but that's probably one of my favorite ones.
And I know JJ asked you mentioned meditating a couple of times. What is the best way to get started?
Yeah. So meditation is weird. Like, I mean, it depends who you ask, but for me, uh, I'm big on my own breath work technique. I actually learned this from Dr. Amen, and it's pretty simple. I feel like breath is everything. Without breath, we have no life. So breath is life. And when you can control your breath, you can actually calm down anxiety, all these different things. So I start off with breath work. And my simple breath work is as I inhale through my nose for a count of three, fill up my belly, I hold it for one, then I exhale fully from the back. If you take yoga, right, fog up the mirror, and for a count of six. And I do that for at least 2 minutes or so. And from there, my meditation is pretty simple. I always meditate on seeds. And so I start off by in my past. I always say there's something in my past that's been planted in my life that doesn't serve me anymore. So I physically, not physically, but I in my mind, I visually dig up a seed and I get that seed away. The second part of my meditation is focus on the present. There's a void there. What seed do I need to plant in my life currently? What does the future me need? Right? Maybe it's courage. Maybe it's a seed of knowledge, whatever it may be. I plant that seed. And then from there, I focus on the future. I think about myself in the harvest of that seed, right? And I sit there and I just have a conversation with myself, like not audibly, but just have a conversation with myself mentally. And that's usually my process that I take people on, that I take myself on, and it helps me a lot.
Awesome. Thank you. We're 5 minutes till 9, so I don't want to keep you like here for 2 hours. So I want to be mindful of your time too. I know we have one, two more questions, and then Ebony raised her hand too. So I want to make sure that I get through. Do you mean to raise your hand? Okay. All right. So any faith-based messages that you listen to, like your morning meditations? Any like certain ones you can think of?
Meditation wise, not, I wouldn't say like quiet meditation, just listen to audible. I'm a big person on instrumentals, by the way. Like I have a Protect Your Peace playlist on Spotify, and that just speaks to my soul. I'm a big believer in nature too. I feel like I connect with God the most in nature. Nature heals. But often what I do is when I'm riding the Peloton or something like that, I will turn on whether it's TD Jakes, Stephen Furtick, um, Dr. Tony Evans, I would just play on YouTube and I would listen to a sermon while I'm on my bike. So I'm like, okay, I'm riding for 45 minutes, 30 minutes. I can listen to a sermon and I meditate on the message. And usually I take that message that I heard and I go meditate on that with my meditation. So I do that like a few times a week.
And I know you send like the texts out too, like when you're doing them on Facebook or on live on IG. So make sure that you subscribe to his texts, and he will send those out to you.
Yeah, I put the number in the chat.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then Wendy, so Wendy, I know her and her husband both work in healthcare, in the ER specifically too. So things are really stressful right now with their jobs. So how do you stay strong for those around you when you're also going through a hard season too?
Yeah, I think you just have to be open and honest about the season you're going through. I think asking for help is not a weakness, it's the greatest strength that you can have. So sometimes being strong for other people is taking care of yourself, right? And so I know in my season when I couldn't be strong for nobody, like I couldn't be strong. I didn't have it in me, but I was open about where I was at. And it helped a lot. So I just want to just tell you that, like, be open. Don't feel like you have to suppress everything. Don't feel like you have to stay strong, right? Help is the greatest thing that you ever could ask for. Like, ask for it. And in that, I think that's really being strong by showing people your vulnerability, your transparency, and they understand where you're at. Because sometimes people don't know where you're at, and they just keep demanding things from you. At least now you can be like, "Hey, this is where I'm at with my life. This is what I'm going through," and a lot of people will give you that grace, and also maybe even give you the help that you need and be the support that you need.
And if you guys are in our Power Hour group, I put the Protect Your Peace playlist. I tracked it down on Spotify. So if you guys want it, I can probably send it in a team page and stuff too, if you guys want that. All right, so we are 2 minutes from 9 o'clock. Anything else? You could probably take one more question if anybody has anything else.
I know y'all ain't shy. But I'll just say this and have no questions. I just would tell all of you, like, with that protect your peace, like really, really, really orchestrate that for your life. And I could talk 3 hours about it, but whatever that means for you and to you. And I'd send out this text earlier today, and I just want to share it. Like, you'll never experience peace trying to control things that are out of your control. And so just think about that. Like, think about your life. What are the things that you're trying to control that you can't control, right? What are the things you're trying to change that literally you can't change? And I think that's one of the strongest ways to disturb your peace is living externally and trying to change stuff that you just can't change. And so, yeah, protect your peace, protect your soul. And I just feel like when that's in order, everything else, man, it just makes life a little bit easier.
Love that. Thank you so much. We are so glad you came to spend time with us. Thank you for taking time from everything else, from your family, from other responsibilities. So really, we love you. I know a lot of us are just so thankful for you. So we are gonna, in true coach fashion, take a photo. So let's do that. I'm gonna put gallery view up. We have 4 pages, so this is gonna be quite a bit of photography. So y'all just hold on for 1 second. We'll boomy all the pages. How about that? We'll do like one at a time. So just pretend you're on every page. Are you ready? Okay. First one. 1, 2, 3. All right. That's first page. It's coordinating. All right. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Perfect. I got both of them on that one. I feel like a professional. All right. Thank you so much, Trent. Thank you. Thank you. You guys tag him in your stories, and check out his podcast if you do not already. Okay. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You too.
Bye.
Take care.